The whole Liam Kumar Day effect, not really happened.
Nigel couldn't make it.
Yeah.
I've rang up Mendenhall, he said he could make it.
Don't dig this hole. Phil, credit to the guy, he always manages to do well what he has, but he is a shocking person right now. You guys got a trophy? No.
It was pre-bit.
No, my life from Rashad Mendenhall.
Right, you guys, I'm a tag jack! I'm a fucking tag!
Hello and welcome to a special Week 14 Saturday edition of the LOC Report. I'd like to say it's because I wanted you to have the most up-to-date game day edition of it possible, but in truth it's been my birthday week, so priorities, hashtag. But I am joined by, for perhaps only one of the last few times I'll be able to say this, or maybe not, the current champion of Barnes, of Tom Sirens. How's it going, Coach?
Yeah, good. I thought you were going to say the current Edot Locker. I thought you were, that was a mutiny there and you were throwing me off the rock.
That's true.
Could happen.
Both could be the last time, but
yeah, possibly about to lose all my titles. I'll just be one of you petty nobodies again.
And that's a message to the rest of the league that you're a petty nobody. You heard it from your official representative.
Hey, no one said that this wasn't a dictatorship.
Hey, you're not meant to tell them that. You're like my right-hand man to like King Jong-un. Anyway, I feel we're going off course rapidly, so should we get back on course to this momentous Week 14 with the news, which
let's do it. I'm excited.
Hotly anticipated. Yeah, absolutely. So let's do it. The league news. So I think this is possibly the biggest week for injuries we have had this season, which is actually quite an achievement considering how much injuries we have had.
It's been a car crash.
Yeah.
It's carnage.
Pretty much. All at the wrong time as well, depending on what team it is. So I'll just go down the list. There's a lot. So we got DeAndre Hopkins first. He's got a hamstring thingy, but he's probable. So it's really nothing serious. He'll be fine. Stevie Johnson, however, suffered a groin injury at Denver last week. Didn't get a single catch. And he has not practiced at all. He's out, will not play Sunday. Chris Polk, he is probable. I have no idea what's wrong with him, but he'll play. Moving on, who we got next? Gary Barnidge, he's kind of had an ankle injury for a few weeks now, but again, he's questionable, so not a lock to play, but I would anticipate him playing. Vincent Jackson, he's probable. Obviously, he's had that knee ailment for a while, but he'll play. Mark Ingram was a big one. That popped up on the week. He's had a shoulder issue, which has apparently turned into a torn rotator cuff. So, yeah, that's a nasty injury right there, and he will miss the rest of the season. How big of that is a loss for the Tugfards?
Oh God, it's huge. I mean, that really came out of nowhere. I think that shocked everyone a little bit.
Yeah.
And well, thanks to this being a Saturday edition as opposed to a Wednesday edition of the podcast, we now know that his replacement has done utterly terribly as well. I mean, 0.2 points.
We'll get to that later.
Ouch. Yeah, but no, I mean, it highlights how big Ingram was.
Yeah, and absolutely.
I didn't even know he had an issue. I knew nothing about it. Just all of a sudden he was on IR.
Yeah, he's had a shoulder problem. I don't know. I guess he aggravated it, and the Saints, obviously, their season's pretty much over. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Travis Benjamin has a shoulder injury. He's questionable. I would anticipate him playing as well, but obviously check. Tomorrow, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's probable, but he with the thumb issues he's had for a while now, but he should play, will play even. Danny Amendola, he's questionable with the knee injury. He played last week, so I would anticipate he plays again. Ted Ginn, he is probable. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he will definitely play. Des Bryant, he is probable. I think likely related to his foot. He'll play. Julio Jones, also probable. He's constantly injured. This time it's a knee, but he will play. Tyler Eifert had that neck stinger or whatever the hell it was a couple of weeks back. Missed last week, but he will return this week. He is probable. Jarvis Landry, he is questionable, I believe. Limited participant in practice with a knee that's been bothering, but he should play. Willie Snead should come back as well. I'm not sure. He did play. Oh, no, I don't think he did play last week. He's had a calf problem, but he is probable he will be back this week as well. What we got next? We got TJ Yeldon. He's probable. I anticipate he'll play. It's a groin. He's kind of had that. It's been a recurring thing, but he'll be fine. Jonathan Stewart also probable. He'll be good to go. Emmanuel Sanders, ankle. That's been bothering him for a while. He'll play. Brandon Marshall. He's probable. He's again had some lower body ailments, but he'll be fine. Scott Chandler has had a knee issue and is questionable. I think he'll play, but just check that one, as opposed to his fellow tight end counterpart Rob Gronkowski, also questionable with the knee, but I do not think he will play on Sunday. But again, just check. Andrew Luck is out again with the lacerated kidney problem, but reports are swirling that he could be back as soon as next week. Carlos Williams also out this week. He has been sporting a pretty fetching sling all week on his shoulder, so he will miss the Sunday's game. Greg Olsen is probable. Not sure what's wrong with him, but he'll be good to go. Moving swiftly along, Calvin Johnson, he's questionable. He's had an ankle problem for quite a few weeks now, but he'll be fine. Ryan Matthews finally has cleared his concussion protocol. Hooray. He will be back this Sunday. Rashard Matthews still hasn't practiced ever since suffering a nasty rib injury. I would be very, very surprised if he played this week. CJ Anderson also suffered an ankle injury last week as well. I think it looked a lot worse than it was, but he's questionable. He might play, though even if he is active, I'm not sure he will do much. Moving on, Eric Decker, he's probable. He's kind of been dealing with that knee issue all season long, but he'll play. Marshall Lynch obviously continues to remain out with the abdominal issue. Swirling, conflicting reports on when he will return. Could be in a couple of weeks, could be longer. Crockett Gilmore, he is doubtful with a back injury for Sunday's game, and doubtful is generally not a good sign, so he probably will not play. Dexter McCluster, he should make a return this weekend. However, he had that knee problem, but he is probable. I expect he'll play. Mari Cooper, also probable with a foot ailment, but he should play. Julian Edelman, surprise update here, he is not playing this week. However, he did practice on Friday. So he could possibly come back, maybe even next week. Zach Ertz, he's probable. I think that's probably just related to the head issue he had the week before. He'll play. Kenny Stills, I think he missed last week's game but with an ankle issue, but he should be back this week. Nearly there. Andre Ellington missed this week's game with that turf toe injury, which is a real injury. And he could return next week. Martellus Bennett, he was another surprise player that got put on reserve, injured reserve with a rib ailment. Big loss for Rick Nan?
I mean, they've been kind of going for a little while about him because he's had issues and
he was in a mental funk.
He was what? Sorry.
He was in a mental funk, apparently.
Yeah, which I mean, help me out if you know what that means, but yeah.
Job? I don't know. No,
I don't know. I feel like a few games ago, if he'd been put on IR or whatever, yeah, big loss. But now I think they're just kind of used to getting on without it. It's just been a bit of a pain, so at least they don't have to think about it anymore.
Sure. Anquan Bolden, he's probable, likely just related to his knee. Philip Rivers, he's been on the injury report with a foot problem, but he is probable and should play as well. Alfred Blue, back issue, he's probable and will play. Travis Kelce, I think that's an ankle issue, but it's nothing. He's probable, he will play. Brandon Cooks, probable with a head problem. Interesting. He will play. And Carlos Hyde, finally. Okay. He's actually been put on IR, fresh out the pan. That was today. He has finally been put on IR. So Sean Drawn, fire up the kiln. Yeah, his foot issue has caused him to miss every game since week 8. So it was only a matter of time. They're not making playoffs. So yeah.
No.
He's on IR. So that's the injuries. So we'll get swiftly to the transactions, and we're going to start off a little bit earlier than the actual waiver wire here, and you'll see why in a second. So the Pugfards on Tuesday raised some eyebrows and even caused a scandal. They caused what is now dubbed Waivergate by dropping Derek Carr, T.Y. Hilton, Matt Ryan, and Jason Myers. You want to talk to us a little more about Wavergate?
Well, I mean, everyone was caught off guard, weren't they? Looking deeper into it, you can see the reasoning in the coach's head, but at the time it was a bit like, okay, was it a mistake? Was he drunk?
Great.
Yeah, no, but like I say, looking into it a bit more, you see at the end of the day, Hilton's disappointed him, and I think he kind of had enough. The quarterbacks were underperforming and had bad matchups, so yeah, move on, make a last-ditch push for the playoffs. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. So Wavergate amounted to nothing, and I handled it very well, if I do say so myself. And Roger Goodell should give me a call next time he needs anyone to solve any matters, because I evidently did a hell of a better job than he did. Anyway, Forge Flyers added Jameis Winston and dropped Kirk Cousins. The DNAs added Ted Ging and dropped Vance McDonald. The Tuck Clouds added Tyrod Taylor. The Dream Team added Isaiah Crowell and dropped Joy Bell. ADRZ added Tyler Lockett and dropped CJ Spiller. Interesting move, that one. You want to comment on that a little?
Didn't seem like the most timely time to drop CJ Spiller.
Wasn't even aware he was on the waiver wire.
No, neither was I, actually.
No.
I mean, I'm not exactly going to jump on him myself, but opportunity means good.
Hell, if Sean Drawn can become fantasy relevant, then I would hope for CJ Spiller's future career prospects that he can as well. Yeah. The DNAs added Mike Nugent and dropped Justin Tucker. The Tuckpots added Brandon Coleman. I want to kind of pause on this one. You remember in the chat on Sunday, Phil pulled one of those what's a Brandon Coleman, and he's only gone and added him. So
yeah, he's a big fan, clearly. He was just trying to throw us off the scent so no one else went for him.
Just like Adrian Peterson in the draft.
Just like Adrian Peterson in the draft. Yeah, no, this old Phil, he jumps ship on his own comments every so often, doesn't he?
Absolutely. The Dream Team added Darrell Green Beckham and Kendall Wright. Dropped Kendall Wright, sorry. ADRZ added Bilal Powell and dropped Shane Vereen. The Tuck Pods added Brian Hoyer and added Marcus Mariota, and then they dropped Brian Hoyer. The Tuck Pods added Chris Boswell. They also dropped him and added Randy Bullock. Then they dropped Randy Bullock and added Matt Prater. Some entertainment here from the top.
Oh, yeah.
But Detonates added Tim Hightower and Terrence Williams. You want to talk about this one a little bit? And I'll throw in the Dream Team picking up CJ Spiller and dropping Pierre Garçon.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? At the end of the day, you've got to pick up the opportunity where it's there. Whilst I like the Hightower ad, I mean, I don't believe the Detonators are going to start them this week. And for me, that's kind of they're all but mathematically out of the playoffs now, so it kind of seems like there wasn't much point to me. But
hey, week 15 and 16, still.
I mean, no, they completely matter, but I don't know. Maybe Tim Hightower explodes. Right
now, but that is in the toilet bowl bracket, so
No, then that's big.
We'll get to that later. Though.
Yeah.
Tugclouds added Mike Tolbert and dropped Mark Ingram. Then they dropped Mike Tolbert and added Curran Williams, which we'll get to in a bit. Patterson added T.Y. Hilton and dropped Malcolm Floyd. What do you think of that one?
Yeah. No, yeah, approval given. T.Y. Hilton's a good. I had him on my roster last year, and you've got to go through the weeks where he doesn't do much and accept that every so often he's going to do a lot.
Yep.
So,
and the Jack this week, you never know.
I was going to say it would be so typical that after Phil dropped him, where not only does he explode against the Jags, but also he also explodes for Pat. Who, I mean, there's a fair amount of rivalry going on between those two. It would have been just perfect if Pat was playing him this week. That would have been great.
Yeah. And finally, Ford Flyers added Austin Safarian Jenkins and dropped Alfred Morris. So that is your transaction. So we will get straight into last week's games, starting off with what was our marquee matchup going in? I see no reason to change that. The Tugfods took on Bare Necessities. Now, this was a juicy game going into it, no doubt, because both these teams obviously vying for playoff spots. But obviously, the winner, their chances are still alive, and the loser almost but certainly out of it. So, yeah, going into this game, both teams were at 6-6, and only one could win. The history of this matchup, I believe, was Bare Necessities were 4-5 against the Top Cuts going in, and they've leveled the matchup in a very close victory, 105, 106, even to 103. You want to tell me about this game?
Yeah, well, I mean, you summed it up at the end of the day, haven't you? It was both of these team seasons were hanging on this game, basically. The winner was still going to stand a chance, and the loser was, I'll say it again, all but mathematically out of it. And they need, well, it is Phil in this case, he needs an awful lot to go in his favour, which, I mean, is a shame in some ways because he's been a high scorer. And I think both these teams probably, on their performance throughout the season, probably did deserve playoffs, but only one of them could in this case. And well, I'm probably now I've said all that. It's something crazy is gonna happen, and still gonna make playoffs. But it was a great game. It was exactly what you'd expect in there. Maybe you'd expect another 10, 20 points each, but yeah, it was always going to be close.
And the kicker here was Tugfights were on about 99 going into the was it the Monday night game? I think it was. Sunday night game, sorry. They only needed about 6 points or so from T.Y. Hilton, and he only got 3.6.
He did.
That was a real kicker, especially when you see the options on the bench. However, we know how much Phil complains about his bench. I think he made the right move, and he should stop complaining, basically.
What? Sorry, the right move in playing Hilton or in now dropping it? What?
The right move in playing Hilton. I
agree. At the end of the day, you can't. I think I'm right in saying he was his third round draft pick. I mean, you can't. You've got to, in big times, you've got to count on players like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And anyone would have put money on him getting the 6 points at the end of the day.
Definitely. So we'll go on to our next game here. This was probably, I don't know if it was the second best, but it was a really good game. Iknan took on the Ford Flyers. So Iknan with a win and Gridiron Gang loss, if Gridiron Gang lost, could reclaim the lead in the division. Ford Flyers obviously just playing for shits and giggles right now, but they love beating on Iknan because history of this matchup pretty one-sided. Ford Flyers were 5-2 against Iknan coming into this one, but they're definitely not 5-2 anymore. They are in fact 5-3 because Iknan put up a season high 160 points to Ford Flyers 90. Tell me about this game. Iknan going to the playoffs on the back of this?
Iknan look almost set for the playoffs, to be honest. It's looking pretty good from their position right now. And it was a great game, like you said. They put up an absolute ton of points. Cam Newton, Antonio Brown in particular, went nutty, basically. And just going to quickly throw this in, but I believe that the high score was predicted by some mystical entity in the week prior.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh yes, I was the mystical entity. Quite right.
What was that, number 4 of the season out of?
4.
That's not that bad. I mean, I think you're definitely better on the second half of the season than the first.
Oh, I've improved. I'm pretty much at 1 a week now, and there was a good 6 week span where I got nothing right at all. And I mean that's 36 total predictions. So.
Oh dear. Okay. Yeah, but this game was good. Fudge Flyers had a nice day too, but obviously they're just they're saving all their points up for weeks 15 and 16, I think.
Oh yeah, the focus has been on not losing the James Mill.
Sure.
For a while now.
Yeah. So we're going to our next game here. Gridiron Gang took on Blake Bortles. Oh, excuse me. Gridiron Gang took on ADRZ. History of this matchup. That'll be funny in a second. Gridiron Gang were 3-2 against ADRZ in the history books. With a win, Gridiron Gang wouldn't have locked up playoffs unless Iknan and the Tugfods both lost. But they would have been in very, very good position heading into the final week. While ADRZ, they've had the playoffs for a few weeks now. With a win here, they could lock up the number 1 seed and the regular season title. which is exactly what they did. 121-98. So tell me about this game, and can Gridiron Gang recover?
Gridiron Gang are in a bit of a mess. Their issue, and it's been their Achilles for a little while now, is the points for, and it's just not. It's not quite there. And it's still they're tying the division with Icknam, so all they need is for Icknam to lose, and that's it. But Icknam looked good this week. I don't know if you've seen my article earlier.
Had a chance.
Some of their matchups are fairly golden, and it's looking. They need a favour. Gridiron Gang need a favour.
Yeah.
Because I can't see them claiming the wild card spot with their current points score.
No, definitely not. But yeah, ADRZ had a good day. Blake Bortles got 43 points, which is why my comment was so hilarious. They also had some other nice players chip in as well. So just a good day out by them, and really Gridiron Gang. It wasn't terrible, but Eddie Lacy, you're a twat, and I hope you get better soon. Let's go on to our next. That's all I can say. Let's move on to our next game here. Jeff Seals took on Tom's Tyrants. These two had only actually played once before last season, and Jeff Seals took that matchup, funnily enough. But going into this one, Tom's Tyrants really, both these teams, in fact, really needed a win to stay alive in the playoffs. Playoff race. The loser would probably go out. Jeff Seals run a streak of 2 games lost coming in, so a bit of a cold period, while Tom's Tyrants had a win streak of 4 heading in, and that's now extended to 5, which may be one of the longest, if not the longest of the season so far. I'm not sure when ADRZ's loss came, but hey ho. So they've leveled up the matchup 1-1 now. This game finished 100-85. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, it wasn't the best game ever from either team, to be honest. I was not especially impressed with my points tally, but the win's the important thing. So there we go. I haven't got a great deal to say on the matter. There were much more exciting games this week.
Sure. This one actually looked like Jeff Seals were going to win for quite a long time, and then Ben Roethlisberger decided to basically put up half your points on his own. So, yeah. Yeah. We're going to our next game, though. Pakistan took on the Dream Team, and this matchup has never happened before, and I'm not sure, but that might be the last time I can say that about a Pakistan team. I think they've played everyone after this game now. Yep. This was actually a pretty good game as well. So the Dream Team obviously needed to keep winning to keep the lead in the division. They got 2 teams hot on their backs. While Pakistan, I'm not sure if they could even mathematically have made playoffs, but it would have been a tall order anyway. They're playing for fun right now. They've been improved of late. It showed this week. They didn't quite get the win, but they certainly had, I think it was their best week of the season. 124-120 in favor of the Dream Team. Want to tell me about this game?
Yeah, I was really impressed by both teams actually in this game. I really was. I've not necessarily been 100% behind the Dream Team's playoffs hopes for a little while, and I've actually kind of been counting on catching them, but it hasn't happened. And but yeah, no, they look like a really complete roster, and lots of good point getters in the squad. So yeah, but then from Pat's point as well, there's a lot of waiver wire ads in there. Who else would have started the Eagles D this week? Let's be honest. Well, wow. We'll call that a skill and not luck, but
it's all luck and not skill in reality.
But I think both teams are really good, and it was a shame for Pat that he was mathematically out at this point, because, like you say, he's started to really hot up at the end of the season.
Yep. And our final game here, Roman Sexuals took on the Detonators. Entering this one, the Detonators realistically needed to win their last 2 games and get some help for any chance of making the playoffs, while Roman Sexuals, they needed a win to, I don't even know if I think they're mathematically still alive, I'm not sure. But yeah, so the history of this one, yeah, Roman Sexuals are 0-1 in the history books against the Detonators, so they've only played once since 2010. So it was a really close game. Came right down to the Monday night game, and the Detonators came up just short. 104.78 to 102. Want to tell me about this game?
Yeah, like you say, I mean, at the end of the day, like you say, but they'd say it's needed to win, and they didn't. It's Ross's team has been one that's just been like, what is it gonna do week to week? You have literally no idea.
Yep, literally no idea.
But it was nice to see Beckham back on the field. It always helps at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ross has taken it about himself to become a bit of a spoiler, and he well and truly spoiled this week. So yeah.
Yep, so that's all last week's game. So we'll have a quick look at the standings now. And while we're here, I'll just talk a little bit about the bowl scenarios, since that's a huge part of it, of course. So looking at the Southampton division, Dream Team still at the top of that, as they have been for quite a few weeks now. They're in 5. 2 7 and 6 teams behind them, Bare Necessities and Tom Tyrants, who have about 20 points difference between them. Then we got the Detonators at 6 and 7 at the bottom. Portsmouth division, ADRZ leading up as per, they're 10 and 3. Jeff Seals behind is 6 and 7, out of the playoff race now. Palestine coming in at 5 and 8. Interestingly, could actually finish second in the division after this week. We'll get to that later. Forge Flyers rounding out the bottom of the division and the league at 3 and 10. Winchester division, 2 teams tied at the top for 7 and 6. Icnan at the top with about a 80 points in their favour. The Gridiron Gang, Tuckfards in at 6 and 7, as well as the Romosexuals. About 140 points between those two. So right now, the playoff race, we've got ADRZ as the number 1 seed. We've got Bare Necessities as the wild card with the Dream Team at number 2 and Icnan at number 3. So right now, the playoff matchups would be ADRZ taking on Bare Necessities in round 1, and then the Dream Team also taking on Icnan in round 1. Looking at the other bowl games, so for the the Fruit Bowl bracket, so that's I guess officially 5th place bracket. We've got Tom's Tyrants in the 5th spot. They'll be taking on the 8th seed Romosexuals. Then we got the 2 in the middle, Gridiron Gang would take on the Tuckfards for a chance to go to the Fruit Bowl, and then we get to the Toilet Bowl bracket, which right now looks like Jeff Seals at the 9th seed, taking on Forge Flyers at the 12th. Loser of that would go to the James Milner Bowl, and we've also got the Detonators taking on Pakistan as well, and again, loser of that would go to the James Milner Bowl. So that is the bowl seeding right now. Taking a look at the league milestones this week, with one more loss this week, Coach Merritt will have 40 regular season losses of all time. Regular season losses all time and 45 all-time losses. Same goes for Tom's Tyrants on the loss front. They also only need 2 more wins to get to 60 wins. If you win out, interestingly enough, you would overtake the Tuckfards if they lose again this week.
There we go.
Interesting, right? What else is happening? The Detonators can get 55 all-time wins this week if they get another win. And I can get 50 all-time wins if I get a win this week as well. However, last week I did hit 50 all-time regular season losses. Woohoo! I think I missed this last week. Coach Sherwood actually overtook Coach Leach in wins all-time and in the regular season, marking for the first time a non-founding coach has risen above a founding coach in the win-loss column. So congratulations to Sherwood. That's great.
Much applause to that.
Yeah. While Chris unfortunately falls to 55 all-time losses, which is a league high. What else is cracking? Coach Nathwani with 2 more wins can get 40 wins all-time. Coach Wells with 1 more win can get 35 all-time and regular season wins. And I think that is about it for the milestones. So we'll get straight on to the next thing, and that is the power rankings. As always, I will just go down the teams, tell you how they've moved, and I'll let you tell me what you think about it. So here we go. The Dream Team's still at the top. They're at number 1. Coach Barnes and Tubbs Tyrants, they're up from 3 to 2. Ben Necessities are also up 1 spot from 4 to 3. Ikanan up 2 spots from 6 to 4. ADRZ holding steady at 5. Detonators up 3 from 9 to number 6. First time they've been that high in a long time. Tuckfards, they've dropped 5. They were at 2nd. They are now at 7th in the power rankings. Gridiron Gang, they've now bumped down another spot. They've gone from 7th to 8th. They've been making a slow decline down the power rankings for a few weeks now. Pakistan, they're up to 9. First time they've been in the single digits for a while too. They moved up from 11. Forward Flyers, they've gone down to 2 spots, number 10 from 8. Again, they've been, I think that's the first time they've been in the double digits for a while. Homosexuals, after a good week, they've moved up from the bottom to number 11. And Jeff Seals, once again, returns to the cellar from number 10. What do you think about the power rankings?
Not a bad effort, I wouldn't say. Lots. I would pretty much agree with. I'd maybe personally have Ikanan a little bit higher on the result of A big week, B a bit of a stranglehold on the division, and C being like starting to look like they're hot at the right time. So, but I mean, other than that, I'd say lots of teams should be pretty happy with where they are. I think or content at the very least.
Good. Cool. So go check that out. Also, go check out the other articles we got. We had Ben's odds article earlier in the week, and we've had bumper editions of E.Locker this week. So definitely go and check them out right now. Those are only available on the blog, so you can go and read them there. We've also got a new poll, which I just posted today. Who will win the Winchester Division, Ikanan or Gridiron Gang? We want you to tell us who will win the Winchester Division. So we'll go on now to our last section of the show, and that is the much anticipated Week 14 preview. There are many important games this week. Funnily enough, as it turns out, quite a lot of the playoff hopefuls aren't actually going off against each other. By that I mean, so Gridiron Gang's taking on the Tuckfards. Realistically, the Tuckfards are out of it. Tom's Tyrants is taking on Detonators. Realistically, they're out of it. Ikanan's taking on the Homosexuals. Realistically, the Homosexuals is out of it. But there is one matchup which could have pretty big ramifications. 2 playoff hopefuls do play each other. This marquee matchup is Bare Necessities versus the Dream Team. Huge game here. There could be a very upset coach come Tuesday morning. The Dream Team has been holding on to the Southampton division for a long time, but there exists a scenario where if they lose to Bare Necessities and Tom Sarrence wins, or Ikanan with enough points, they would miss out playoffs entirely. So all to play for still here for the Dream Team and Bare Necessities. They need to win and at least outscore Tom's Tyrants. So projections currently have this one 113 to 99 in favor of Bare Necessities. Who do you think is going to win this game? Can Bare Necessities win this game?
Yes, they can. However, so could the Dream Team. This is going to be really close. This is going to be really, really close. Dave will be most unhappy that it's looking like Gronk's not going to be participating, and that could be a killer. But then we've got, looking at Viv as well, he's got a couple of pretty torrid matchups. He's got Latavius Murray playing Denver, I believe, which you don't love. Yep. And also, I noticed Isaiah Crowell has snuck his way into the starting lineup, which is a bit... Indeed. Yeah, so there's bits I don't like on either thing, but the importance is, there is a very strong chance that whoever loses this match will not go to playoffs. Very strong.
Yeah.
But,
and I should have covered Bare Necessities are 4-5 all time against the Dream Team, so it's a pretty even matchup. Who are you taking to win this game?
I am going to take Bare Necessities.
Yep, I'm going to agree. I think the Dream Team, like you said, some of their matchups really aren't what you want to see. And yeah, Isaiah Crowell is almost a desperation play, especially at this stage of the season. So I think Bare Necessities has the upper foot right now.
Although Palmer did get the Dream Team off to a pretty nice start.
Yeah, 24 isn't bad. Absolutely.
Right, points on the board. This is the game that really could go either way more than any other in my opinion this week.
Yeah. So we'll look at our probably next most important game regarding the playoffs right now. That's Tom's Tyrants take on the Detonators. So the history of this matchup: the Detonators are 3-5 all time against Tom's Tyrants. So kind of close, but you've got the upper hand. Tom's Tyrants with a win. Again, they need Ben SSDs to lose or to outscore them in points. But they've got a good shot at making playoffs, which is incredible considering you were at 2-6 at one point. Currently on a 5-game win streak too. Well, the Detonators, I think they've all been all but mathematically removed from the playoffs after losing last week due to their very subpar points. Projections in this one currently have it going 130 to 90 in favor of Tom's Tyrants. However, the Detonators does not have a kicker right now. Anyway, the Detonators causes an upset here.
I think it's certainly possible. It's like you say, they themselves are all but mathematically out, but they've also been on a pretty nice run for this latter half of the season. They had a close loss last week, but other than that, they've looked like a decent team of late. And like you say, it's big. I mean, there's a decent chance that my team will catch up with whoever loses the Dream Team Ben Necessities game. I've got more points than Viv, and obviously if Dave loses and I win, I'll go ahead of him on record. So it could be, if the Detonators win, then it could really screw me over, to be honest. But and again, I'm not keen on some of my matchups. I mean, I'm not benching Julio, but it's going to be
Josh Norman, definitely.
Josh Norman?
Yep.
Yeah, no fun. Oh well.
Who are you taking?
I would hope that my team.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with your team too. We've got an interesting scenario going right now. As you said, we've picked both Ben Necessities and Tom's Tyrants to win. So it'll be very interesting to see with the three-way battle that's going to happen there.
Well, that would almost certainly put Ben Necessities through.
Yeah.
And unless my team won with a terribly low score and Viv's team lost with a huge score, then I'd probably go into the wild card spot behind him.
Yeah. So our next game here, probably the next most interesting one, Ignan can pretty much lock up the division with a win this week against the Romosexuals. History of this matchup, the Romosexuals are 1-2 against Ignan all time, so these guys haven't played each other a lot. They have 4 points from the Thursday night game right now. Projections have this going 130 to 98. Romosexuals with a win last week. They faced a very tall order to make the playoffs even still. But Ignan in prime position to lock up the division. Will Ignan lock up the division is my question to you.
Yes, it's my answer to you. I can't see. I just can't. This is, out of all the games this week, this is one I'm most certain about, and I just see Ignan storming it, and they'll probably be the number 2 seeds going into the playoffs, I would imagine.
Cool. Nice and simple, short and sweet. Just because, I mean, both these teams are volatile. Like, I've said that all season. But the Romosexuals is definitely more volatile. And the 4 points from Larry Fitzgerald, it's not a death sentence, but it's not great. So I think, I agree. Ignan, they've got some juicy matchups, and their players are hitting stride. As I always say, I'm never confident in their running backs, but they've shown that they can compensate for it. I don't think Richard Rodgers is getting 20 points again or whatever it was.
It was a lot, and I wouldn't count on it.
But even still, I would go with Ignan as well. And sorry, should have covered with the other matchups. Ben Necessities, Dream Team are currently up 25-11 in that one, and no one's kicked off in the Detonators Tom's Tyrants game. So our next game here, the last relevant game for playoff considerations anyway. It's Gridiron Gang against the Tugfards. This is always this is a pretty juicy rivalry too, right? Gridiron Gang are historically pretty bad against the Tugfards, 7-3. The Tugfards are against Gridiron Gang all the time. Gridiron Gang at 7-6. With a loss last week, they do face a tall order to make the playoffs, but it's not impossible. They need to win first and foremost, pretty much, and they either need Iknan to lose or they need both Tom's Tyrants and Bear Necessities to lose. That is their route to the playoffs, barring some very funky maths happening.
Lots of maths. A few multiplication signs would help. Like, you're kind of past the addition.
Hey, if I put up a 200-point game, you never know.
Hey, if there was a time to do it, this is it.
Exactly right. And the Tugfards, with their third straight loss, I'm not sure. I can't remember the last time, if ever, the Tugfards have ever lost 3 straight games. Incredible.
No.
Yeah. Projections in this one have it going 124 to 87 to Gridiron Gang, and there's been actually 4 players between these two in the Thursday night games. The Tugfards had 3. Adrian Peterson, he got 12.6. Cardinals D, they got 11, and Carwin Williams got 0.2. As you said, right at the top of the show, definitely feeling the loss of Mark Ingram straight away.
Yeah.
While on Gridiron Gang side, Michael Floyd, who got put in at midnight on Thursday night, he got a nice 16.2. So, hooray for me. So first and foremost, will Gridiron Gang win this game? Secondly, based from what you said, I probably know the answer to this. Will it matter?
I would have possibly been backing Gridiron Gang anyway, but Thursday night has really put a nail in the chances of the Tugfards. Peterson did okay, the Cards did pretty well, but that 0.2 is going to be so hard to recover from. I mean, unless Eddie Lacey pops out another 0.1 or whatever last week. I mean, that'd help. Well, help Phil, not you, obviously. But, it looks good for Gridiron Gang in terms of winning this game. In terms of making playoffs, I think realistically their best chance is if Iknan implode and they win the division. I can't see Gridiron Gang getting through on the wild card.
No, I would agree. Bibby, you think Gridiron Gang wins this game? Yep, you pick Gridiron Gang?
I'd go for Gridiron Gang for this game, yes.
I'm going to go with my team too. I agree the Cohen Williams 0.2 is hard to recover, and it's nice to have the 16.2 from not one of my core players already in the bank. But, you never know. I mean, Sean Drawn, at the end of the day, it's a player called Sean Drawn. He's had some nice games, but, you never know.
Your running back situation is what could lose it for you. Because they all could do just about anything, to be honest.
Pretty much.
Lamar Miller and Eddie Lacey.
No one knows what's happening with any of those two, right?
No.
Tom Brady as well. He's facing a tough Houston D. That didn't stop him against Denver, but his weapons are ailing right now. I wouldn't anticipate having Gronk, but so it'll be interesting to see what he does. Nuke Hopkins as well. Patriots are usually notoriously good at taking away the other team's best weapon. Nuke's a heck of a receiver, so if anyone can do it, he can. But Bill Belichick's a pretty good coach last time I checked. So there's plenty of places my team can fall down. And always on the Tugfard side, we can slate the roster as much as we want. He could start Brett Favre, Herschel Walker, Jim Brown, I don't know, more Michael Irvin, and name retired receiver here. And he could probably still win a game on his day. But you're right. At the end of the day, if anyone can, it's him. Yeah. I've already said if any of the pretty much out teams are going to make the playoffs, it'll be him. Yeah. And he's got Allen Robinson and remind me of his other wide receiver. Doug Baldwin.
That's it. And they've both got pretty sweet matchups.
And they've both been pretty hot lately too.
Yeah, so I mean there is a lot of points potentially there.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll move on to our next game here. This one the next two don't have any playoff relevance, but this next one has some divisional relevance. So Pakistan take on Jeff Seals. History of this matchup is I can't remember what happened. Pakistan lost their first game against their former team. They're 0-1, so they'll be looking for vengeance here. If Pakistan win, and I'll just check the points quickly. But if Pakistan win, can they? Yeah, win. They need to outscore Jeff Seals by about 70 points, so it's unlikely. But they could take second spot in the division. While Jeff Seals, they fell out of the playoff race last week. So projections in this one currently have Pakistan winning at 119 to 102. Who do you think win this game? Do you think Pakistan can get to 6 and 8?
Yeah, I believe in Pakistan. And also, I kind of want Pakistan to win, to be honest. There's a bit of that going on. I kind of don't want the auto drafty to pick up the win. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm slightly doubting that either of those teams will make the projections they've been given. But I think out of the two, Pakistan are more likely to top 100 than Jeff Seals. And that should be enough for a win, I reckon.
Yep, I would agree. Yep, I'm going to go with Pakistan too. Let's not waste any more time talking about this game. And finally, this one really has no implications on anything. Both these teams are locked in to where they are. Forge Flyers take on ADRZ. Forge Flyers will be happy they're coming to the end of the 2015 season. They're at 3-10 right now, lost 4 on the trot. They're going to the James Milner Bowl bracket. But with a good week 15, they can definitely avoid the James Milner Bowl itself. So maybe they'll just get in a warm-up game here, so to speak. While ADRZ, they locked up the first seed last week, so they have the regular season championship in their hat, so they can do whatever the hell they want this week. Projections in this one. Oh, interestingly, they'll also be the only double-digit win team this season, in the regular season at least, anyway. So. Interesting target there. History of this matchup, ADRZ are 3-4 against Forge Flies all time, so pretty close. Projections have this 123 to 112. Forge Flies got 13.8 from John Brown on Thursday night's game. And my question to you is, will ADRZ recover in time for the playoffs?
I mean, I thought ADRZ were in need of recovery, but they put up a decent score last week, and who knows? Maybe they aren't. I know Blake Bortles happened, and that's not going to happen every week. But it's a pretty pass-happy offense, so Blake Bortles is going to do well. And I was starting to think this team was less threatening than they have been for the season. But no, I don't think they're in need of recovery. I think they're already in playoff mode, and they can prove it this week if they go out and put up a decent score.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So you're picking ADRZ too?
Yes, although I think this will be close. I think Forge Flyers will make it close.
Yeah, I think I'll go with ADRZ too, purely for the fact that even though they've had quite a few subpar weeks lately, they've been fairly consistent even still. While as Forge Flyers, they've just been in a big rut of late. So any guesses as to what they're going to do really? But I could see a scenario where Forge Flyers win.
Yeah, same. They've got good players, and they will score a decent amount of points. It's just whether a decent amount is enough.
Yeah, sure. So according to our projections, we have Gridiron Gang missing out on the playoffs with Iknan locking up the division, and then we have a 3-way between the Dream Team, Ben Necessities, and Tom's Tyrants. We have Ben Necessities beating the Dream Team and Tom's Tyrants beating the Detonators to make them all be at 8 and 6. What are we going to predict of those two teams? Obviously, only 2 can make it. Out of those 3, who do you think will make the playoffs?
Well, in this scenario, the bare necessities would be confirmed because there's no way they could pick up the win and not score more points than the Dream Team. So they would definitely be in. Mm-hmm. So they're obviously a definite if they beat the Dream Team. But what could you remind me of the gap?
Sure. So 9-point gap. You've got 1355 and the Dream Team have 1346.
Wow. I mean, that is so close. I'd like to think that if I won, then I'd be putting up a decent enough score to maintain a 9-point gap. But Viv won last week, didn't he? I was going to say last week I only put up 100 and Viv put up, 124?
4, yep.
So, I don't know. Like I say, I'd like to think that if I win my game, I will be going to playoffs. But it's not. It's not even a far-fetched situation where that doesn't happen.
Yep, absolutely.
Viv could easily put up another 120, 130 and make it not possible.
Yep. And I have actually just spotted another kind of scenario. So let's say you lose and the Dream Team loses. If I win and outscore the Dream Team by 52 points, unlikely I know, I then have the wild card, I believe. And likewise, if I outscore you and him, particularly you, by 60,
yeah,
then I would make the playoffs in that case too. So obviously very unlikely in those scenarios. As we've already said, Gridiron Gang need other teams to lose realistically, but hey.
Well, like you said, if there was a good time to have a 200-point game,
yeah,
I don't know, a 150 would probably just about get you there. You could aim low.
Be conservative, right?
Yeah,
because I've got close to 150 this season, as have so many other teams. Not.
I don't think I've been above 130.
No, I don't think I have. I got 120 once, I think. 120. Yeah, so that is.
Yeah. I think you realistically aren't going to make it on points. I think you need.
I would agree.
I think you need Bare Necessities, Tom's Tyrants, and Ignan to lose, which could happen at the end of the day.
Yeah, never.
Anything can happen.
But I'm sure you'll all be on the edge of your seat, as will I on Sunday. And Jake Simpson will be joining me tomorrow as well, because he too has some pretty wacky playoff scenarios in his league. So we will both be nervously sat on the edge of our seats watching Sunday's games. And I hope you enjoyed the game day edition of the LOC Report. And best of luck this weekend. Thanks for joining me, and we'll be back next week to discuss all the craziness and, more importantly, the bowl games. So we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining. Goodbye.
Cheers. Bye.